Okay, so it looks like everyone is here. So hi everyone, welcome to today's webinar. It's on business continuity planning, and we understand this is an incredibly challenging time for everyone. So we appreciate you all making the time to come along today. So my name is Chloe and I'm a bookkeeper and business coach at ClearPath Accounting, and I'll be a moderator today. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with the webinar environment, there's the Zoom settings on the screen. So we'll have a closer look at that. Now just make sure your audio settings are on and you can hear me. So test your speakers. And you can submit questions via the chat area, and we'll be answering all of your questions at the end of the webinar. So you can click leave meeting at any time. All right, so now I'd like to introduce today's presenter. So Suzanne Walker is our principal certified practicing accountant at our firm. She has over 20 years experience in taxation, business accounting, and business advisory. She loves working closely with all of our clients to provide them with the support they need to build their perfect businesses. So for anyone who didn't know, she became a granny again during the week to baby Henry. So congratulations, Suzanne, and welcome.
Thank you, Chloe. Yes, little Henry is just beautiful and very exciting in this crazy, crazy time. So today I'm just going to start with the thought of the day. It's from J.F. Kennedy, actually. And it's when written in Chinese, the word crisis has two components. And one represents danger and the other represents opportunity. So we are most certainly in a crisis at the moment, but at the same time, I believe that it's a real time for opportunity, an opportunity for you to take leadership in your role in helping your team, be proactive in communicating with clients, and make a plan for a more sustainable or resilient business. In the worst case, a plan to at least exit your business with the minimum negative impact on you and your team. So today's agenda, we're going to talk about the required mindset in these difficult times. Business owners have a lot of stress, so it's important to have the right mindset to move forward. We're going to build a plan for yourself, your team, your business, and outline the support available to you. And yes, that includes the new government stimulus package announced yesterday. We're also going to talk about what steps you should take and any questions you may have. You can submit those via the chat box, and we'll have a chat about those right at the end of the webinar. We encourage you to take notes as well, so get your pens ready. Okay, so to put us all in the right frame of mind, I want to share one of the most powerful business models I've seen, and it's called Orbit. In times of crisis, basically we have two choices about how we can respond. We can either act below the line or we can act above the line. So below the line actions would go something along these lines. You'd blame, so we could blame someone else for bringing the virus into the country. You could make excuses why there's nothing we can do, or you can go into denial that there is even an issue, which will put yourself at risk, your team and your business. Now, above the line, what we can do is take ownership, that we can and we must do something to protect ourselves and our business, even if that means closing the business for now or putting it in hibernation. Recognise that we are accountable to our team and our clients at their greatest time of need, and then take responsibility for protecting ourselves, our team, our customers, and our business at this difficult time. So the top line, you're always speaking about you're in control here. You're making the decisions. You see it, you do it, and you own it. So below the line, you're speaking from the you, and you're always blaming other people. So it's quite childlike. You're feeling out of control. You ignore, or you wait and see, or it's not my job. And there's no initiative there really. So we want to make choices. We have choices when we operate above the line. And if we don't, we can be the victim. So the fundamental mindset here is that we have a choice and mustn't take the victim mentality at this time. As well as acting above the line, we can also consider who we need to be in these times. In other words, your personal brand or identity. If we're not careful, we can act like this. Basically, when I have got through these pressing client matters, I'll be able to do the things that do things like make a plan to get through this and talk with my team about what it all means and how it affects them. And then I'll be a great leader of my business and my team. But a far better mindset to have is actually the other way around. So in order to be a great leader of my business, I need to do things like update my plan and get proactive with my team and my customers during this time of crisis. And then I will have the most successful business I can during these times. So as you can see on the screen, B, define and create your preferred way of being. It's basically in alignment with your goals. Do, your way of being will propel you into the appropriate action. And then have, the results of your action will enable you to reach your goal. So you've got to be before you can do, and do before you can have. The next mindset is from Sir Richard Branson, who we all know, and it serves as a great reminder as to where we need to place most of our energy right now. Thinking about who we need to look after in these times, first and foremost, it's about you as the owner. But we also need to think about our team, our customers, and we need to look after our business. So what we find is all our energy is going in all these different directions, and we're splitting it between the team, the customers, the business itself, and we have very little time to look after ourselves. But Sir Richard Branson, he gives us a very useful model to follow. So clients do not come first, your employees come first. And if you take care of your employees, they will take care of the business. Now, in saying that, all of the current government stimulus packages are designed to enable employers to put their employees first at this time. So if we have a team, even if it means it's subcontractors, make sure you as the owner are doing whatever you can to look after them. Then by looking after them, they will be well equipped to look after the customers. And you might, for example, talk to your team about a pivot in your sales plan to cope with these challenging times, maybe a new product, how you deliver it, and the team can pass this message on to your existing and to new clients. If you pivot your sales message and your team look after it, after your existing customers or find new customers, then those customers are going to look after your business. And if this new sales plan is in place, then the business will basically look after you. So the point here is that it all starts with you as the owner. If you act above the line, remember who you need to be and make a plan now. It should start with your team. But if you don't have a team, the plan needs to start with your customers, who will then look after your business. So we want to help you build this plan as a business owner. So the first part of our business continuity plan is about building your resilience. Your well-being is critical. Nothing can happen unless you are well. So remember to put the oxygen mask on yourself first. Make sure you stay healthy. Get as much sleep as you can. Keep your exercise going and get support if you need it. Select the information sources carefully and try to minimise the amount of time spent on social media about this COVID-19 issue, because it's very heavy and it can, be quite depressing. Ensure you stay calm, stay connected with friends and family as much as you can, whether that's via Skype or social media. You can't quite do it in person, but try and stay positive as well. Focus on the needs of your family. Their health and well-being is extremely important. And everything we do is basically for our family. So make a plan for how you can support them, especially if they need to go into isolation. Get organised there. If they've had contact with someone with COVID-19, then you need to design your home or your space to ensure that they're totally in isolation. So having that ready, sharing that plan with them is a good idea. Another very empowering thing we can do is a personal budget. Now, this doesn't have to be complicated. You can just look at your expenses for the last 1 to 3 months, and then really identify any costs you can cut. Now, there's actually a list here on my list, and it's saying you can make savings in entertainment and travel and holiday. Well, the government's actually already made that decision for us. So they're easy decisions, but you might find other areas in your personal spending where you can cut back, because every saving that you make in your personal spending will take some pressure off what your business needs to provide you. I would negotiate with your utilities providers. It's saying here that don't cut costs for essential utilities like strong internet. Now, I know for me, I'm working from home today because I've got better internet here than I do at my office at Blaxland, because every single person is at home and on the internet. So we're just working around that. Likewise with your other personal assets and planning for your family. You want to make sure that your personal insurances, like your life insurance and your income protection insurance, is up to date. Think about, have a look at when the last time you did your will, or have you even got a will, or a memorandum of wishes. Make sure they're up to date or even at least done. And then make sure you and your appropriate family members have power of attorney in place. Now, in our guide, there is an explanation of the different types of power of attorneys available. So just read that when you've got a minute and see if you need to organise anything there. So now we move on to building your team resilience. So your team members are worried about job security. It's everywhere. Job loss is surrounding us, and the government has stated that there will be losses during this time. So be open with your team. Share the relevant parts of this plan that you're going to do with them, and be honest about their potential impact that the pandemic will have on your business. If there are job losses, ensure you obtain legal or HR advice on the best way to handle it. Your first point of call there might be to contact Fair Work, but if you are looking for a more personalised advice, we can put you in contact with an experienced professional in this area. And it's likely that people will remain in some form of lockdown in the coming weeks or possibly months. So you need to decide what additional resources your team will need to provide to ensure that they can work from home, and whether you need to look at their technology and ensure that you maintain communication. For our office at Clear Path Accounting, we use Zoom every single morning at 10 a.m. For a catch-up. It's a live feed, so that anyone who's working from home, I do have a couple of girls working from home because they're mums and they're trying to be school teachers as well, but at least it's contact. So that's the most important thing here if you are setting up your team from home. Make sure you've got a COVID-19 policy in place if you're still at work, and that's to ensure that your team is kept safe and to let them know that support is available to them. We'll go over some government support that's available, and especially with the new update, things are looking Good there so far. Okay, so your clients, they're the key to your business, other than your employees, of course. So the support you offer your customers now will impact the support your customers give you in the future. So customers need to be reassured that you're still operating. That's if you are still operating. If you're not, let them know that you're not and what your plans will be as soon as you know what your plans are. And let them know that you're taking specific measures to mitigate their exposure to the virus. For instance, we've got a no face-to-face meeting policy until further notice, so everything is done via Zoom. Your policy should cover steps your business is taking to protect your customers, and share this information with them to offer them reassurance. You might want to have a look at your terms of trade and update them to reflect any business or any changes in your business. Share your updated terms of trade with your customers, highlighting these key changes, and in particular, review your payment terms and delivery terms. But remember to enforce your terms of trade at this time. Don't let customers avoid paying you. This could really have material impact on your sustainability. So that's really important. As we've mentioned earlier, you need to put the oxygen mask on yourself. So it's essential that you make sure that you have sufficient cash coming into the business from your customers. So cash is the oxygen of your business. And we'll talk more about cash flow a little later, because there's always things that we can do there to improve it. However, to improve your cash flow, make a plan for dealing with suppliers. For payment arrangements and negotiations, try and negotiate new payment terms with your suppliers if the existing ones no longer suit you. If you can pay up front, you might want to ask for a prompt payment discount. If you don't have enough cash flow to pay up front, then ask to pay over a longer period of time than usual. Also, if you've got stock, you might want to go into a consignment agreement rather than holding the stock. And that way you're only paying for the stock once it's been sold. With your purchasing policies, discuss your supplier's supply chain. If you think, and what measures they're taking to continue the supply, I suppose. Consider whether you need to order additional stock while it's available, especially if you consider that stock maybe become scarce or you can't reorder. And then really look at your sales patterns at the moment and cancel out all orders that you think will not sell at this time. In regards to returning of stock, you may have already closed your shop, for instance, and you've got stock sitting there. So review your supplier contracts in regards to return of stock. Maybe contact them, discuss whether they can return excess stock that isn't sold to you, because we know that we might be moving into a different season, especially for clothing stores and whatnot. So ensure the contracts are up to date with any terms, and if you can't return the stock, then consider discounting slow-moving stock or convert it back to cash. Review all your other contracts as well. I'm talking about, agreements. You might want to contact your landlord. If you've closed the shop completely, then you might want to discuss a rent-free period of time. If you're still open but your income has dropped significantly, then you might request a reduction in rent at the moment. So look at your vehicle and your equipment items. Have you got leases on those? Just review everything you possibly can and try and renegotiate. Don't assume that the contracts can't be renegotiated at this stage, because everyone has got similar problems, and so they're open for discussion. One of the most important ways to improve your business is to shorten your cash conversion cycle. So this is basically a picture of the timing of cash coming in and out. So for example, for this business here, they might have bought some stock. Now it might not, if you don't have stock, you might think, well, I don't have stock. But if you're paying for materials for job sites, if you're paying for subcontractors or labour, it's a very similar picture. This is just an example of a wholesaler. That's why it says stock. So day zero, that's when you purchase the stock or the material or the subcontractor. And then you've got that on payment terms, perhaps. You might have a 30-day term to pay that supplier, or this is an example here that they pay on 45-day terms, and that's when the cash goes out. What you're also looking at is the amount of time before you can make a sale. So you're looking at the stock from the supplier. It's on this example at the top of the page there on the left-hand side, they're holding the stock for 60 days on average before it's sold. Then they're selling it to the customer, and then again, they're offering payment terms to that customer. And on average, for this example, the payment terms are 60 days. So you can see here that it's 120 days before they receive payment for that particular item or service. So having a look at that, we can see that the 60 days holding of the stock plus the 60 days average receivables, less the 45 days payment to the supplier, equals the 75 days. So that's basically the number of days that it takes this business to convert that purchase into a sale and into the bank account. But using the numbers from your we prepare a lot of management accounts for our clients, but we can use those numbers to work out your average cash conversion cycle. And we can discuss that and work on that together to shorten, we can find ways to shorten that cash cycle to free up more cash for you. For example, if you had debtors of 50,000 and your turnover is 500,000, a 10-day reduction in cash conversion cycle is actually worth $13,700 to you. And that's cash we can all do with at the moment. So by completing your business continuity plan, we can work out how to free up as much cash as we can using this model. The Business 101 cycle. So this basically shows the relationship between the business owner's investments and drawings, the assets used to generate the income, and the return on those assets and how quickly it converts to cash flow. So starting at the top here, we can see in the red that the owners actually invest in the business. So whether they've lent the business money or deposited cash into the business and time, this is the investment that the business owners are making. And that investment is usually converted to assets, which are then used to generate income. So the assets can be financed as well, obviously, with new loans. But the assets might be equipment, it might be staff. But basically, they're all used to generate income. To generate that income, obviously, there's costs there. So there's going to be drains on your profit, and there's going to be gains on your profit. So, but your profit basically is the return on those on those assets. Your profit gains, for example, increase of sales, your margin growth there. And examples of profit drains is unchecked overhead expenses. So with the profit, we can all know that profit doesn't necessarily equals cash. So cash is more about the timing of payments and timing of income coming into the business. So your cash drains, for example, you might have slow collection of debtors, an increase in stock or work in progress if you're a service-based business. You've got business loan repayments, you've got tax payments coming out, or you pay your suppliers faster than you're receiving your income. Cash gains, however, we can increase our cash by faster collection from our customers, a decrease in stock, so we're not holding lots of money in stock, and our work in progress is also decreased. So we're billing out as soon as we're producing a service or undertaking that service. A cash gain can also be slower payments to suppliers, and that's where the negotiation comes in place. So when we receive the cash, then again, that goes back to the owner as either drawings, as cash taken, it could be wages for them, but basically it's paying for their lifestyle and any personal loan repayments, etc. So the whole point of this Business 101 cycle is really to accelerate the spin cycle, and that will increase your return on investment. So I've talked about your cash conversion cycle and your Business 101 model. So let's look at the 7 ways to actually grow your business, and I'm sure you've seen them before. Okay, number 1, client retention. Let's try and increase client retention. What can you do right now to delight your clients? We want to stay in contact with them. We want to see how you can hold onto them, or basically we want to see how you can hold on to their business. Even if you've closed, you might put out Facebook posts. Guess what? We're relaunching in this date and have a big relaunch party. It's about, picking the low-hanging fruit and ensuring you retain the clients that you've worked really hard to get already. Increasing your lead generation. So while things are dying down, this is the time really to do things that you may not have had time to do, like your marketing strategy. Look at low cost or cost-effective ways to get recognition, like social media, and try and attract new business at this time. Increase prospect conversion. Make sure that you're ensuring that it's very easy to buy from you. And that might be you can offer delivery or an online ordering option. So there's lots of businesses out there, especially retail, that are now making it super easy to buy from them. For example, there's a fruit and vegetables shop at Glenbrook. They're doing delivery to their clients. So you order online now or via the phone, delivered to your door. So no one has to go out. So you've got all these shops now that are reinventing themselves. And so finding the easiest way to convert that prospect is great for your business. Increasing transaction value. So how can you encourage your customers to buy more from you? Are there supporting products or services that they're not actually aware of? Increasing transaction frequency. What can you do to encourage customers to come back more regularly? Do you have the option to, offer buy one get one free next time? Or can you set up a meeting after the end of the transaction? Can you develop a loyalty program? Or if nothing else, ask for a referral to a new customer if your work is more of a one-off nature. Reduce your cost of sales. What can you do right now to preserve your current margins? Now that might be for a service-based industry, reducing errors or rework. Can you get a better price from suppliers? Or even selling products that give you the greatest margin. And obviously the last one is reducing overheads. Look at costs that you can totally remove from the business altogether right now. Travel, entertainment, and vehicle costs is probably a good start, but negotiate with your every person that you possibly can and cut out all unnecessary costs here and be quite ruthless. Sorry, just having a sip of water. One of the biggest overheads in a business are interest costs to financiers. So plus the repayment of the actual debt. So here's a list of ways the bank or your financiers could be able to help you. So you could ask for an increase, or even if it's temporary, in your overdraft facility if you have one. Review and extend trade credit. Look at asset finance funding. So especially with the increase in the small business asset threshold, if you're thinking of buying something, well then looking at the asset funding arrangements there could be worthwhile. Ask your bank for a loan repayment holiday or deferral on repayments. And if they can't do that, can you convert the loan to interest only at the moment? Extend the terms of your lending periods. That can make the repayments smaller. You might be able to ask for short-term or hardship loans or short-term mortgage holidays. And then there's the business credit card options. So part of the business continuity plan should be a discussion with your bank, and we can help you with that. As independent advisors, we can talk to you first about the best options to ask for with your bank. So your business insurance. While most business insurance policies are likely to have exclusions for COVID-19 type pandemics, it's still important to really review them. Have a look at your workers' compensation. Is there anything special you need to do because you've got workers at home now and they're spread all over the place? Theft or property loss. If you've got a business that's completely closed down, make sure it's still the insurance policy is still valid, even though nobody is there. Look at your public liability, your professional indemnity. If your services have dropped significantly, you might be able to get a reduction in the premiums. And then if you're in business with another operator or another business owner, look at your shareholder buyout insurance or your key person insurance. So this is the, I will get to the new announcement from yesterday, but first of all, I'll go through the second stimulus package offered by the government. And most of us have heard about this, but I'll go through it anyway. The first initiative basically is boosting cash for employers. And that was announced on the 12th of March and then updated. So the government now will match your PAYG withholding amounts lodged in the March 2020 and the June 2020 BASs to a maximum of $50,000. In addition, the minimum payment is increased from $2,000 to $10,000. Then again, in the July to September quarter, eligible entities will receive another boost equal to the amount they received for the March and June quarters. This means that eligible employers will receive at least $20,000 up to $100,000 under both payments. So I'll just give you an example. If we've got an employer who withholds $2,000 per quarter of PAYG withholding, then they will actually then they will actually receive a minimum of $10,000 for the March and June quarters, then another $10,000 after the September quarter, so long as they've still got employees. For an employer that withholds more than $25,000 per quarter, they will receive a maximum of $50,000 for the March and June quarters, then another $50,000 in September. It's important to understand that this will be delivered as a credit to your tax account. Basically, what that means is that if the payments result in a credit balance, like you're fairly up to date with your taxes, then you'll receive a cash refund into your bank account. If you still have an amount owing on your tax account, then at least your debt has been reduced. The March quarter amount will be received in April, the June quarter amount will be received in July, and the final payment will be received in October. Now, for anyone who's lodging monthly, you'll actually get that credit every month. Assistance to apprentices. So the government is going to subsidise 50% of the apprentices' wages paid during the 9-month period from the 1st of January 2020 to the 30th of September 2020. It's up to $21,000 per eligible apprentice or trainee, and that payment will be capped at $7,000 per quarter. The apprentice must have been in training with that small business as of the 1st of March. The employers will have to register for this assistance, so contact your Australian Apprenticeship Support Network provider, and you'll need to do that before the 31st of December this year. Okay, there's been an increase to the low-cost asset write-off threshold. The increase basically is from the existing $30,000 to $150,000, and that is only till the 30th of June this year. So we've got 3 months to go. I can't see this being really useful for the cash-strapped businesses, but it's out there. The federal government will also provide a guarantee of 50% of new loans taken over a 3-year term of up to $250,000. Now, on these loans, there'll be initial 6-month repayment holiday, and there may be a lower interest rate charged, but the loans will be subject to the lender's normal credit assessment processes, so just understand that. The way I see it, the bank, it'll actually be a type of facility offered. The bank will provide the full $250,000 to the business, but you will only be charged interest on whatever you use out of that loan. So there's for eligible individuals, they will be able to apply through their MyGov account for access to superannuation. So to be eligible, you must satisfy one or more of the following. You are unemployed, or your working hours are reduced by 20% or more, or if you're a sole trader, your business was suspended, or there was a reduction in your turnover of 20% or more. So basically you can apply for $10,000 before the 30th of June, and then another $10,000 after the 1st of July, and those payments will be tax-free. So there's also a temporary relief for financially distressed businesses. So there's an increase in the threshold for creditors to issue statutory demands from $2,000 to $20,000 for the next 6 months. And there's also an increase in the threshold for initiating bankruptcy proceedings from $5,000 to $20,000 for the next 6 months. So if nothing else, ensure that each of your suppliers' balances are under that $20,000 mark. There's also a temporary relief for directors. So directors will be temporarily relieved of their duty to prevent insolvent trading, just for the 6 months term only. So with the payroll tax, if you're registered for payroll tax, basically the March 2020 payroll tax payment, which is due on the 7th of April, you will not have to pay that. The government is waiving that payment, so immediately you're going to get that relief. Then you will also receive a 25% reduction of your payroll tax liability for the full 2019-20 financial year, so this financial year, and that will be assessed upon lodgement of your annual reconciliation, which is due on the 28th of July. Now, I don't know whether you're going to get a cash payment or that's just a credit to your next payroll tax liability. There's also an increase to the payroll tax threshold from the 1st of July, from $900,000 to $1 million. Okay, so the latest government update. So as of yesterday, the 30th of March, there'll be a wage subsidy worth $1,500 per fortnight per employee, and that will be paid to the employer. And this is for a 6-month period only. So basically, if the employee earns under that $1,500, the government will effectively be subsidising the entire wage for you, but you will actually need to pass on the entire payment to the employee. So they will receive the full $1,500 per fortnight. If the employee earns more than that over the fortnight, then the employer will need to top up the payment to their normal wage level. The employer will also be liable for superannuation on top of this wage payment. However, I do believe that the superannuation will only be payable on the normal wages that you would be paying for that employee. You will also need to withhold PAYG withholding from these payments for your employees. The employer needed to be employed by your business on the 1st of March to be eligible. So these payments will be backdated to the 30th of March, which was yesterday, and it will be again delivered through the existing tax system. Now, what I'm guessing here is that the only way I can see this working is that the tax office will create a new account, so to speak, under your business. So you've got your BAS account, you've got income tax account, and you may get a wage subsidy account. And the payments will be made directly into that account, and then you can disperse them out to your employees. This is the quickest way, number one, that the payments can be made to businesses and their employees. Yeah, so we'll see how that one turns out. I'm not really sure. I'm hoping that it doesn't go into your existing tax account, because if you have a debt, then that payment may be lost. But we'll watch and see. The payment's available for full-time and part-time workers, sole traders or subcontractors that you hire, and to casuals who have been with their employer for 12 months or more. To be eligible, the business revenue must have dropped by 30% or more since the crisis hit. So you actually need to register for this online, and you'll need to sign a declaration stating that your income has dropped by 30%. I can't tell you at the moment how they're going to measure, whether it's just this quarter or is it measured to same time last year, but we'll give you the information as we receive it. So if you've got your pens in hand, just write down this website, and you'll be able to apply for the payment, but we can help you if you're a client anyway. So it's ato.gov.au/job-keeper-payment. So you can apply on that web address for these payments here. So essentially, employers will be given the wage subsidy basically to help pay employees while the business is reduced or while they're in hibernation. And this means that employees who have already lost their jobs will actually be able to access the payment through their bosses rather than Centrelink. And it's going to cost the government over $130 billion over 6 months. The other announcement that was made yesterday was that tenants cannot be evicted from either commercial or residential properties for 6 months. So no other assistance is being offered here, either to the tenant or to the landlord. And it's suggested that tenants and landlords will need to come together to make an agreement and really make a decision on a case-by-case basis. So what are your next steps? So we've set out for you the mindsets you need to have in these difficult times, what you need to do to look after yourself, your team, your customers. We've shared ideas on how you can improve your sales your margins, profit, cash flow. Even if that improvement is slowing the speed of decline, it would still be considered an improvement. We've shared in general terms what support is available for the government. We can help you really get most of the assistance you need there. And now it's essential for you to decide what you're actually going to do. Clearly, doing nothing is not an option. Now is the time to put the oxygen mask on yourself. Make a plan to get through this crisis, even if that plan involves closing your business. You're better off making the decision sooner rather than later. Part of that planning is to surround yourself with experts, like your accountant, your bank manager, your lawyer, or any HR advisor. We're all here to help you through this time. And remember to stay above the line. Live into the be, do, have mindset. Focus on what you can do. So with this in mind, we've developed a business continuity plan and guide, which I'll show you briefly now. Oh, hang on. Just bear with me, I'm learning how to use this system. Okay, so here's a copy of our guide, and you'll receive this as attending the webinar today. And it basically, there's my beautiful team here. Aren't they gorgeous? They're all very hardworking and committed to providing a great service for you all. Here it is. So basically, we've talked about your resilience. We've talked about your well-being. Family comes first, personal budget, what to look out for when personal asset planning. Here's a description of the different powers of attorney here. And then how to support your team, what it looks like, what the prevention response policy should have, keeping your team updated and ongoing communication tools there, continuing work even if it's from home, supporting your customers, your suppliers, and basically the health of your business. So cash flow forecast and cash flow management. What are the best things to do to improve your accounts receivable process? So there's lots of things here in this guide that you can use to prepare your plan. It also talks about the government support package, and that has been updated from yesterday's announcement, and I'm sure that will keep going. And then you've got other useful links as well, your next steps and bits and pieces. Now I'll just show you what the plan looks like as well. Okay, here's the actual plan. So you can insert your logo and customize it to however way you like. But basically, again, you're going through all the different steps and you're actually noting a plan, who's responsible and when you want it done by. Okay, so that's all your personal side. You're building your resistance, supporting your team, supporting your customers, working with suppliers, and then your business. So looking at the cash flow forecast, we can prepare one for you if you need it, not a problem at all. So that's what you'll actually get after we've completed this webinar. I'll go back to the screen. Okay, so this is how we can help you. So we can and we want to help you in these challenging times. So I've discussed our recommended strategy to complete the business continuity plan, and that's why we've developed a plan template and a guide to help you do that. And again, you'll be receiving that at no cost whatsoever. There's 3 options of service here for you. So the first option, meet with us online so that we can do this plan together. The session is quite long, so up to 4 hours. So we'll actually run that as 2 separate online sessions to break it up a bit. The advantage of this approach is that we'll be able to make sure that you get all of the entitlements to support and support that you need. We also believe that combining our expertise and your expertise on your business will result in a far better plan. So we've reduced our fee by 50% of our normal rates to support you to take this option. So don't tell my business coach. So it's $995 plus GST. The second option, this is where we share the plan, template and guide with you so that you can complete the first draft on your own. And then we can have an online meeting with you, and that takes about 60 to 90 minutes to finalise the plan. And basically, this option will suit people who feel comfortable preparing plans themselves and are not inundated with other things to do right now. The only risk with this approach basically is that with everything else going on right now, you may not get around to doing the plan. So again, our fees have been reduced by 50% to $499 plus GST. Then the third option is that we share the plan template and the guide with you and you do the work yourself. While it's free, our concern is that you may miss out on opportunities to maximise your tax and other entitlements. And there may be opportunities to improve your cash flow that we can identify for you. It doesn't matter which option that you choose as long as you take action. So we expect that the entitlements you will receive will be far greater than our fee. And more importantly, it's about making your plan as quickly as possible. And we encourage you to take action right now. If you don't, it's very easy to fall into the category of those who do nothing to save their business. And we don't want any of our clients falling into that category, that's for sure. Okay, so it's question time. So if you could just enter your questions into the chat box for us, that would be fantastic. For anyone who may need to leave, there will be a short questionnaire to fill out upon leaving the webinar. But let's see if we can get some questions going. Oops, I'm really good at this, aren't I? Chloe, have you got any questions for me?
Hey guys, so I do have a few questions. Now I'm just going to start with one from Andrew. Now his question is, since 100% of my customers are closed, what are my options for any benefits for the business to keep me employed? Not a sole trader, one on the payroll, and he pays PAYG.
Okay, so basically with the new government announcement yesterday, it sounds like you'll be entitled to the wage subsidy of $1,500 per fortnight for 6 months. Definitely, if your business is closed basically overnight, then you're not going to have any trouble meeting the 30% reduction in revenue. You can immediately apply using that web address that I gave you before, and I'll send out a newsletter for that today, this afternoon. Sharon is working on that as we speak. So basically, you'll just have to sign a declaration. Whatever PAYG withholding you withhold from that payment, then you'll also be entitled to the $10,000 to $100,000 government PAYG payment on your tax account as well.
Okay, great. Is that all you've got, Suzanne, for that one? Just make sure you're finished.
Yes.
Okay. We have a question from Linda Wilson. Now, I am not 100% sure on this, so you might need to explain it a little better, Linda. Will PAYG only need to be paid on additional sums paid? So I think the extra PAYG withholding that the government's not giving you back. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's correct. So if this is a big business and your PAYG withholding is say over 25,000 per quarter, then the maximum you're going to get is $50,000 for the March and June quarters, and then another $50,000 for the September. And yes, so that will be provided as a tax credit into your account, and then you pay the difference. So you'll be, over the next 6 months, you'll receive $100,000 as a tax credit. If your PAYG withholding is more than that, then you will just top up that account.
Great, thank you. Now there's a question from Graham. If you intend to hibernate, what plan should I take?
Okay, great question. Sorry, who was it from? Graham? Graham. Great question, Graham. Look, if it was me and I had to hibernate, number one, you want to try and hibernate literally. Obviously, your revenue has stopped. Your revenue stream has stopped. Work on what costs that you can reduce or stop or pause, including payments to any mortgage, any loans. Contact your bank. We can help you with that as well. Also, best thing that I would be doing in hibernation is preparing to come out the other side. Look at your offerings. What homework can you do right now that you've put off because we're all too busy being in business? What can you do in regards to your marketing plan, services, keeping in touch with customers so that they know that you're there, you're just waiting, you're basically on hold. So it's all about nurturing your customers at this time.
Okay, great. Now a question from Simon. If our revenue declines over the next month, can we apply for the $1,500 at the time?
Yes, you can. So as I understand it, it is offered for a 6-month period, and you don't have to make that payment, that application right now. And I will check, but I believe that once you make that application, the 6-month period starts then. So definitely don't rush into it. If you're still earning income and it hasn't quite hit or dropped the 30%, then keep trading as much as you can. Then at the time, we'll keep monitoring it. And when we feel like it's reached that 30% drop, then the application goes through.
Okay, great. Now I've got a question from Adam. If I've been paying myself and my wife as owner's drawings, will we be eligible for the $1,500 a fortnight payment announced yesterday?
Now, for sole traders, can I get back to you on that, Adam? Can you put your details in the chat box there? It doesn't say anything in regards to sole traders here. Well, actually, it does say sole traders here. It just says, I'll just read this section for you. So it's available for full-time and part-time workers, sole traders, and to casuals who have been with their employer for 12 months or more. So yeah, perhaps I believe, yes, you can.
Okay, great. A question from Jamie. Now, my wife and I are in a partnership and we have a couple of girls only doing a few hours per week. The business has reduced by 30%, but I would like to keep the girls on if I can. Now, I don't believe that question is finished.
I can answer. I can make a suggestion anyway. What this new wage subsidy is a top up. So even if you do have the staff available and they're still working, what you will have is you'll have a payment received from the government for $1,500 per employee. As I said, if the employee earns under that, basically you've got to pass on the whole entire amount, so the $1,500, and then first of all you would withhold tax from that. If the employee earns above that $1,500, well then you need to top up that wage amount.
Okay, great. I think that's all our questions. Did anyone have any more questions? If they want to quickly type it into the chat box. Oh, here, I do have another one. So we just hired an apprentice, started the 16th of March. He left his job to become an apprentice for us. Are there any stimulus plans that apply to him?
I don't believe there is at this stage. With all the apprentices, they should have been registered with you on the 1st of March. I would be contacting your Australian Apprentice Support Network provider and ask that specific question. But everything that I've read, you needed the apprentice must have been in training with the small business on the 1st of March to be eligible for that 50% subsidy.
Yeah, so if he was in training before the 1st of March, he'd get it? Is that what you're saying? Even though he started after the 16th of March?
Yeah.
If he was registered before. Okay, great. Does that help, Christina?
If he was with another employer and then he started with you, then you should be able to get that 50%.
Yeah. Okay. All right. If you need any more details on that, Christina, just give us a call a little bit later. I hope that helps. Does that answer your question? If you want to just type yes into the chat box, that would be great. Or no.
Chloe, can I say I'm loving the wine rack?
Yes, thank you. Ah, yes.
Anybody for a wine? Coordinated.
Now, we've got a few more questions. One from Leslie. I read that there is a 30% reduction in turnover. What is the difference between revenue and turnover?
There's no difference. It's exactly the same. They're not talking about a reduction in profit. They're talking about a reduction in your top line. So your income, revenue, turnover, whatever that may be described as. So no difference, Leslie.
Okay, I think that's all the questions. Was there anyone else that had any questions? We are going to wrap that up. I'll just give everyone 2 more minutes to get their questions in. One from Jamie. So could I give them more hours which would be covered in the $1,500 fortnight?
Why not? If you're going to pay them the $1,500, well, I'm sure that they can work it. I'd be trying to get as much benefit as you can from that. Yeah.
And so Bronwyn, do we need to apply for the $1,500 for the staff?
Yeah, yes, definitely. So if you have your pen ready, Bronwyn, it's ato.gov.au/job-keeper-payment. That's it. But we'll send out a newsletter with that link in it.
Now, Suzanne, that should be a link in the worksheet that you're sending out. Is that right?
Yes.
It is. Okay, great.
I'll make sure it is.
We'll make sure we include that link in the worksheet if you guys didn't get that written down in time. All right, so that looks like all of the questions answered. I'm just going to double check the other panel. Okay, so that's it, Suzanne. Back over to...
Can you still see my screen, Chloe?
Yes, we can still see your screen.
Great.
Oh, and also one last question. I have registered, so what do I do now?
Yeah, you wait. Good point. I can't tell you when those payments are going to start coming through. They haven't told us. It was only an announcement yesterday. I'm sure everyone's scrambling to get it all organised. As soon as we know, we'll give you an update. Who was that from?
Jamie.
Jamie. Thanks, Jamie.
Very organised.
Yeah, very organised. Good on you.
Back to you, Suzanne.
Okay, so here's just my parting thought. I appreciate everyone's time today. I know you're all very busy, but thank you for joining us. I hope you got some value from our webinar today. But my parting thought is anyone can lead when the plan is working, the best lead when the plan falls apart. So Thank you so much for your time today. We will be in touch. We will send out a newsletter with the latest updates. And if that doesn't help you or you want more customised help, please reach out to us. We're happy to talk to every single one of our clients to help you through this time. There will be a survey, as I said, just for a quick, so we can gauge who's interested in what level of service in regards to the business continuity plan. And we'll be in touch. Thank you so much. And that's it.